Can a bra help change the trajectory of a girl's life? Did you know that nationally only 20% of girls engage in at least 60 minutes of daily physical activity, a lower rate than boys? Or that girls' participation in sports drops off significantly from the ages of 10 to 17? Wait, hold up, what? Yeah. Some of the barriers that contribute to this include lack of financial means, lack of role models, dropping body confidence, and concerns about body changes, including breast development and the need for a sports bra. The simple intervention of a sports bra, along with the normalization of body development, can change the trajectory of a girl's relationship with body movement for her whole life. You heard that right, her whole life. Every girl deserves to feel comfortable and confident in her own body. And that's why Bras for Girls partners with more than 25 athletic brands and donors just like you to distribute new, high-quality sports bras and breast development booklets to girls in need, ranging from the age of 8 to 18. Let's get girls in well-fitting sports bras right when they need them the most. Girls plus sports equals a beautiful world. You can donate to Bras for Girls today at brasforgirls.org. And as a side note, Eliminate Girl Hate has partnered with brasforgirls.org and will be donating a proceed of all merchandise sales to helping girls get in the bras that they need and keep them in sports. You can help by shopping the Eliminate Girl Hate store today. Did you know that 80% of the world's purchases are influenced and made by women? Or that 90% of product development, manufacturing, and corporate leadership is led by men? I don't know about you, but that seems like some funky, disconnected math. This disconnect means large segments of the population are not getting their needs met because the products being made never even asked us what problems we needed to solve. Instead, companies use a pink it and shrink it philosophy. Not familiar? I bet you are. You know it. Take a man's product, make it smaller, paint it pink, sell it for 25% more. Then, when the products fail to make a dent in the market or to sell rapidly, they say things like, the market wasn't ready. Or, we were so sure it was going to work, I wonder what happened. And then they move on. I'm here to tell you, the market is most definitely ready. But the market is savvy. And putting some paint and saying it was designed for us is a slap in the face. We have real needs. And we're not settling for anything less than real solutions. If this sounds familiar to you and your business, then it's time to connect with Eliminate Girl Hate. We help businesses understand the lucrative consumer segment of women and how to meet their needs in authentic ways. From problem solving, product creation, marketing, and even human resource practices, we help create safe and equitable spaces for the female segment. And these safe spaces increase profit margins, employee retention, and brand loyalty along the way. It's time to start a revolution and meet your consumers where they are. It's time to eliminate girl hate. Check us out, eliminategirlhate.com, and find out how we can help your business today. Hi, and welcome to Season 2 of Wait, Hold Up, What? Episode 1. We're so excited that you came back for Season 2, and we're excited to share some new things, new resources, and really help to create dialogue, conversation, empower, and help each other out along the way. So, my name is Dawn Hanks, your host, and I need to disclose something to you. I am unemployed. Not only that, I have been unemployed since March of 2023. For those of you counting, that's about 22 months. And not only that, I was also unemployed from November of 2019 to November of 2021. So if you're trying to make the math, that is 4 out of the last 5 years that I have found myself without a steady job or source of income. I'm going to take a deep breath there because it's not necessarily a secret, but there's also some embarrassment and shame in that, which I'm working through. So if you just heard what I said and you said, "Ooh, damn," or "wow," or maybe you even heaved a deep sigh of recognition or acknowledgement or empathy, thank you. I know, right? And if your next question is, how are you dealing with all of that? I will first say thank you for asking.
and then I'll say I'm doing my best. There are good days and bad days, and it takes a daily effort to stay positive. But the thing is, I'm not alone. Over the last 5 years, the job market has been, I don't know, wonky, I guess. The market has changed because of the world changing. We went through COVID, and that turned us into a mostly remote workforce. And then COVID went away or became less dangerous, and they said, come back to the office. Industries have gone to the wayside and new ones have come up in their place. Companies have been facing major downsizing and layoffs in numbers previously not really experienced, which basically means we have all been on a roller coaster. And even if you have kept your job, the fear that you might not or that a layoff is looming is probably present. And that's because, according to the Bureau of Labor, as of December, the number of unemployed people in the United States was 6.9 million, and the unemployment rate sat at about 4.1%. However, the number of people actively searching for a job is almost double that, and it's about an average of 12.4 million people that are searching for work each month. And we can read or scroll or listen, watch all of the news reports about the government trying to paint this pretty picture, this positive outlook on jobs, right? And even at the end of 2024, we ended with supposedly 8.1 million job openings. But those numbers can be deceiving because they're in specific roles or industries or marketplaces, and many of those jobs do not provide a living wage. And I can tell you, it just doesn't feel like there's 8.1 million jobs out there when you're one of those unemployed people that's looking for it, and especially if you've been looking for a while. And to top it off, there is a recent report like this week that came out from a hiring platform called Greenhouse, and it's indicated that on average, 18 to 22% of all jobs posted online are ghost jobs. And in some industries, it goes up even higher to a third of these jobs. So what are we supposed to do, right? How are we supposed to keep our head up? I'm going to be honest with you. It takes a lot of effort and energy to stay positive in this environment. And most of it comes from finding ways to manage the anxiety of financial insecurity. Talking to the people that help you manage your money if you have that, or just looking at your bank account every day and saying, okay, how do I stretch this further? I'm cutting coupons. Oh. What makes it even harder to stay positive, though, is that there's all this noise out there around finding work, supposed experts, quote unquote, that are out there telling you what to do and what you need to do and guaranteeing you results, which, by the way, anyone who guarantees you a result is a scam artist. That's just my opinion. I'm not trying to be negative, but trust me, I've been going through this a while. There's a lot of people out there trying to scam people going through such a rough time, and it's so disheartening, right? So now you've got fake jobs, you've got no jobs, you've got no money. It's all a mess, right? And most of those experts, they contradict each other at every step of the process. You need an objective. You don't need an objective. You have to do this. You can't do this. Don't put the looking for work banner on LinkedIn. Do put the looking work banner. Don't be too desperate. Don't be unvulnerable. And it can drive you mad. And it's really hard to know which advice is legit, what's a scam, who to trust. Social media is so addictive, right? Where so many of us are doom scrolling. And so it can be easy to lose hope. And here's what's crazy is it's one thing to doom scroll on Facebook or Instagram or young people at TikTok or all those ones, right? But you can doom scroll on LinkedIn, and actually it's much more depressing. And that's kind of why I'm making this episode. It's not to say, woe is me and dude, help me find work. But I'm making it because if nothing else, I can share what I have learned through this process in the hopes of helping others. Because real talk, I have done it all. There is no joke. In the last 5 years, I have applied to over 1,857 jobs. I have worked with dozens of recruiters, enlisted the help of resume writers, ugh, gross, worked with multiple career coaches, taken hundreds of classes and free workshops, collected certifications to uplevel my skills, and networked like nobody's business. So I've seen some things, and in the end, what I realized is that it's up to me to take what works and ignore the rest, because everybody says that they have a quick fix, and nobody does. But what is it that you really need to know? And more specifically, what is it that you really need to do in order to navigate this process and not lose your mind over it? And the first thing that I will say might sound cheesy, but roll with me here. It's take a deep breath and take some time to mourn the loss of your job. As with anything else, the mourning process is so important. You have to grieve. You likely put your heart into that job and your blood, sweat, and tears into that organization. You drank the Kool-Aid and you made your job part of your identity in some ways. And now without it, you feel lost and confused and maybe a sense of being not in control. And you're trying to figure out, like, did I do something wrong? What could I have done better? And all of this sucks. And maybe you could have done something better. Maybe you couldn't. There is no one answer. And, it does suck. There's not a better way to say it. And in a lot of ways, job loss is so different from these other things that might befall you, roadblocks, hurdles, because it puts us in this position of financial insecurity. And that is scary, right? A lot of mental health professionals will tell you that you cannot have mental health without having your basic human needs met. And financial stability or security is part of that. And it often sends us down maybe a darker path of anxiety, depression, reflection, and we can get lost in that if we're not careful. So take that deep breath, mourn the loss, and move on. Get to work, right? And before I move on into this, I want to clarify something for everybody. I don't have all of the answers. I am just somebody who has been in the trenches and who has had success and failure. And I know that there are no easy answers. There's no one-size-fits-all solution that will land you your next gig. There is just what works for you. So listen, take what works for you, and throw out the rest. I will not be offended, I promise. But let's go. Okay, so these are kind of, I don't want to say tips and tricks because that seems weird and pejorative. Guys, I can't even believe I used the word pejorative because I'm not entirely sure I know what it means. But let's just move on. Okay, so the first thing I suggest is that you get organized. You have to know where you want to go in order to start driving. And so in the process of doing that, things like identifying your strengths and weaknesses. You already know they're going to ask you these in an interview when you get to it. So why wait? So pull out a piece of paper, or if you're truly a computer person and you'd rather type, do that. And put them down on paper. We know that that helps. Now, I personally believe in writing them. There's all sorts of research out there about the connection and the synapses that happen when we write with goal setting and things like that. And so I do it here. But write down what your strengths and weaknesses are and do it from your own mind first. But then go ask friends, family, coworkers, business associates, people in all aspects of your life to help you identify those traits. Maybe come up with 3 questions. If someone called you for a reference on me, what would you tell them are my strengths? What would you tell them are my weaknesses? What would you tell them is unique about me as a coworker or an employee? Ask those people, collect it all so that you're not glossing over any of the good stuff or the bad stuff. Sometimes in the dire need of finding work, we might lose perspective or lose objectivity. And so understanding what we think versus how other people see us can be really beneficial. And get clear on these so that when it does come time to speak to them in an interview, you already have them on the ready to reference. And it makes the process so much less stressful. identify what is important to you. So after you've written your strengths and your weaknesses, go in and understand, what is it that I want from a job? What kind of work do I want to do? What kind of contribution do I want to make? What do I need? And be specific. Yes, this can be things like autonomy, or this can be things like learning. Sure. But get specific. Do you want to travel? Do you not want to travel? Do you want remote work? Do you want to work in person? Do you want to manage a team? Do you want to manage projects? What is it that you really want to do, and dig in there, right? Then figure out what is important to you from the company or organization that you work with. What do you need from them? Do you need to align with their values? Do you want them to focus on things that are important to you in your life? And lastly, what is it that you want from a boss? Look, we don't always get to choose. Well, let's be honest, we very rarely get to choose the boss that we have. But if we know what we're looking for and identify, we can also communicate that, which I think goes a long way. I have managed hundreds of people over the years, and they don't all want the same thing from me. And so understanding what motivates them and how I can be of service to them as a leader has always been something that I've sought out. And I think good leaders do seek that out. So if you have a clear idea of what you want out of a leader, it just really helps you zone in. And as you go through the interview process, it may sound cheesy to say, yes, they're interviewing you, but you're also interviewing them. This could be the next 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 years of your career. And so you want to know what you're getting into. Next, identify those dream or target companies. For some people, that might be 50 or 100. For other people, that might be 3 or 4. But identify them and make sure that you have a concerted effort to find how to get into those organizations. So for example, I keep track of about 50 to 100 companies that are interesting to me, either for what they do, what they contribute to society, what their value sets are, etc. And I go and look directly at their websites once a week, because they are not always posting their jobs on job boards, right? Some companies don't invest in that. Some companies maybe post on their own websites first. And oftentimes less people apply directly on the website than they do on the job board. And so your resume might even go into a different pile. Who knows? But also it's identifying people that work there that maybe are in your network that you could take out to coffee, pick their brain, learn about. All of those things kind of help in your search. And then to add to this, I've just asked you to write all this stuff down, right? I want it all in one place. That's me. I'm a little, I don't know. I'm ADHD and OCD and like legitimately so, and apparently a little bit type A. And so I want to be able to go to one place and kind of see what I'm doing. So I create a tracker. Here's the thing. The experience of finding work takes so much longer than it used to. Like, clearly, I'm on the end of year 2. And because of that, it's no longer like you say, oh my gosh, this job looks amazing, I'm going to apply for it, and you're automatically in the process. So tracking them becomes really important for a number of reasons. As I said to you, I've applied for over 1,800 jobs in the last 5 years. This past year alone, it was a little over 500. So when I do get a call or an email for a resume, sometimes they word the job differently than how it was listed, or sometimes they've got a parent company versus the smaller company. And there's all sorts of ways that confuse you and be like, did I apply for this job? I don't remember doing that. And so tracking this becomes really important in that process to understand and get a hold on what your job search looks like. So tracking things like what you applied for, what the title was, what the job was, the date that you applied, where you applied, right? I've had an instance where I've applied on a company website and I've applied on a recruiting website that was hiring, and one declined me and one asked for an interview. And so there's some of that in the mix as well. But I also keep track of every step of the process. If someone calls me, phone interviews, the next step in interview. When did they tell me they would call me back? And that helps me understand what my follow-up process is like. And then I keep track of the ones that have sent me rejection letters. So I cannot worry about those anymore. It's color-coded. It's a mess. I'm not saying you have to do all of that, but find a tracking system that works with you and your personality and track what you're doing. I also keep the job descriptions on that tracker because sometimes by the time you get an interview, that job description is no longer listed. And so you're trying to go back to prepare for the interview and you can't find the information you need. And so just keeping track of all of those things, I think it just really helps. And it also lets you see what's working and what's not working with your materials and your efforts. And so you can pivot when you need to pivot. If you've applied for 20 jobs and you have not gotten a single response, you may want to relook at your resume and see, did I target these appropriately for the jobs? Is something missing here? And so it allows you to kind of reevaluate your materials in the process as well. Next, what I would say is talk to people. Now, other people, experts will say network, right? And I don't want to use that word. And the reason I don't is because I think it scares people. I think networking makes people feel gross. I think it makes them feel uncomfortable, vulnerable, and all of those things. And that's because when we generally think about networking, we think about like these networking events and you're going in and you're passing out business cards and nobody ever uses them or calls you, or at least very rarely. Like the fact that we even still have business cards is so mind-baffling to me. And also, maybe that works for you. I have just never found success in it, and it's just always felt a little gross. So for me, when I network with people, it's people I know. It's people that have similar interest in me or in a similar industry with me, people that are continually contributing to that industry or those organizations that I care about and follow. And it's continually having communication with them, not just when I'm looking for work or when I need something, but it's maintaining relationships. And that is when networking works for you. And that doesn't mean you can't network with strangers. Of course you can, right? I have some car issues this week and I called my mom and I said, hey, you have a friend and I know that friend works a lot with cars. Will you give me their number? Called that person. He said, I'm not a mechanic, but I got a wire guy. He sent me to his wire guy, right? The wire guy said, I could fix your wire, but you have other things that need help. Here are 2 mechanics that I trust and will not lead you astray. That is networking. But it was doing it in this authentic way with people who want to help you. It's not just going out with a handout. I don't know. There's just a different approach to it. And so being truthful and genuine and authentic in the communication, caring about what people do and wanting to learn from them and listen to them, that is truly what networking is. And you still have to be honest with them. You cannot let shame and embarrassment get in the way because you're asking for help. Just because you're networking authentically doesn't mean you cannot have an ask. If people don't know what you need, they cannot help you get it. That is just the reality of it. And sometimes we think by saying a flippant comment like, oh, I haven't worked in a while, that someone will just magically go, what, you haven't? Well, I know a job. Let me get it for you. That is not how this world works. And so you do have to be a little bit vulnerable and put yourself out there and let them know that this is a dire situation or that you really, really need help and you don't know what kind of help to ask for sometimes. And you can say that, right? You just need to let them know what is real. So posting a LinkedIn post that says, hey, I'm looking for work, email me if you know anything, and then you get confused why there's no results, you didn't really tell them what you needed. You're making them do the work to figure out what you need. And people are busy. It's not that they don't want to help, but they're busy and they don't often know how. And so you need to help them know how to help you. Tell them what you need and how to help. Have no shame. Talk to people every day. There is no room for embarrassment. We need to get back to work. Now, I say that and I struggle with this. I really do. I, for some reason, don't struggle with it as much with kind of associates, but with the people that are close to me, oof, it is hard. So those who can't do teach. I don't know, but I am consistently working on this and putting it out there. I also have two more things for you. One is, do not fall into social media traps. Do not spend all day doom scrolling anywhere, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Don't start following a jillion recruiters or, hiring influencers, and be aware of job search scams. As sad as it is, there is so much out there, and you really have to be savvy about how you navigate that digital space. When you are starting in your job search, you may spend more time. You've got to do all this work. You've got to prepare your materials. You got to know what you want. You've got to do the search. You got to get your resume dialed, your LinkedIn dialed, all of those things. Fill in holes, you name it. But as you go on weeks and months into the search, that is not an 8-hour-a-day job. And do not let people convince you that you are not working hard enough if you're not doing it all day, every single day. It is not healthy to do that. It is not productive to do that. Even in my case, 1,800 applications in 5 years, you don't win by the most applications, but sometimes you get desperate and you just canvass everything. The truth of the matter is you need to figure out how to use the resources, how to be specific in your search and your time, and then walk away. You need breaks. Think about how few of us take vacations when we do work or take our full vacation time, right? Especially in this country, we are known for it. So it is very rare in life that you get opportunities for breaks. So it's important to have a mindset around this time of, how do I also enjoy this time? How do I not sit in despair and fear and anxiety and depression? And how do I relax and have fun and get creative? And it might sound fluffy or whatnot, but you will not survive this if you don't do that. Not with all of your faculties in place. And so my suggestion is to take creative breaks. Maybe you don't have a lot of money likely you don't have a lot of money to spend. So you could give yourself a budget. For me, in the first year of this, I gave myself a $30 budget. And if I found a concert or a stand-up or something like that was $30 and below, I didn't even give myself a second to feel guilty about it. I just purchased the ticket and I went. I didn't try to get people to go with me because everybody's busy and then I might talk myself out of it. I just went. And it was to help my sanity still enjoy something that I love. But I also take creative breaks. I grew up with a very, very talented group of siblings, and they all had something external, whether it be something in the arts or sports. So they always had these hobbies and these things that kind of inspired them and kept them going. And I just never really did. And they were all so good at these things that I often was pretty negative and mean to myself and was like, I have a brother who's this beautiful artist and he paints and he draws and did all of these things. And I couldn't even draw a stick figure. And so why would I even try it? Just get made fun of. But during this process, I realized, oh, wait, I do need to get creative. There is something in me that has that drive and that desire to be creative. I'm an ideator, all of those things. But creativity really helps to release stress and anxiety. And there's all sorts of things that prove it. And so if we're trying to stay healthy in all of this, a lot of people will tell you to get outside and to hike and to exercise. And yes, of course, do all of those things. But your mental health is also really important. And understanding your situation and not catastrophizing it is so important. And this is where creativity comes into play. So there's a recent study by a group called Arts and Minds. It's an arts and mental health charity. And they found that when people are given the chance to create art, they felt better. 71% felt a decrease in anxiety. 73% felt a decrease in depression. 76% reported their well-being increase. And 69% of all participants felt more socially included. And I have to tell you, that is my reality. I started slow. I started by organizing my closets, right? I took a couple days and just pulled everything out, spring cleaning, and organized and got creative in how I organized and made spots for everything. And then I realized, gosh, I got a lot of crap in my house. I've got art supplies and craft supplies and extra things. And I decided, well, what can I do with all this extra stuff? And so I repurposed furniture. I hand sewed cushions that, just don't look too closely. I painted walls. I reorganized furniture. Christmas came. I made Christmas presents. I made all of my Christmas wrapping paper with leftover markers and butcher paper that I had. I made Christmas decorations. I made Halloween decorations. I did a fairy garden outside for the kids in the neighborhood. I sat by a bonfire and I colored in coloring books. Gosh, there were so many things that I did. I took classes. I learned how to do things and just really tried things. And look, they did not all work. I got a number of projects that I had to redo because I am not as crafty as you think. But I learned along the way and I had some fun doing it. There was one project that really failed and I just redid it. It's fine. I even installed a dimmer switch this holiday season because I'm basically Bob Vila now. And there are a couple of things that happened in this. One, I got to be creative. But two, I got to learn something, which we all know, kind of reworks the synapses in our brains and only makes us stronger and better contributors to culture and society and the world around us and all of those things that I could go on for hours about. But it really did reduce my stress, especially on the weeks I got a rejection. I interviewed 3 times. I thought I was going to start on Monday and then nope, surprise, you didn't get the job. We chose somebody else. And I am someone where that sends me dark, right? I do go dark. And I tell myself, okay, I can't get up and take a walk right now. I'm too upset. I'm too bugged. I can color while watching a documentary or some true crime thing because for some reason that makes me feel better. And I started small and then I would look at a wall and say, oh, that wall could be repainted. You're just finding these elements of yourself that allow you to express and get out the negativity. And it also acquainted me with myself on a different level to my likes, my needs, my desires, my talents. And all of that really helped. Okay, so we're at the 30-minute mark. I am going to leave you with a few practical tips. We will have more resources through our social media, but also on our website at eliminategirlhate.com. And you can feel free to email me at info@eliminategirlhate.com if you need to spitball with someone or you have questions. So what I thought I would leave you with is, with all this research that I have been doing, what do the experts actually agree on? Because they don't agree on a lot. So first, resumes. Simple format. No more fancy resumes with pictures and logos and icons and columns and all of those things. The ATS systems or keyword search systems or artificial intelligence search systems, while they are intelligent, they are not smart enough to move past all of those things. And so you need to work with them, not against them, and create a very, very simple, no-frills resume that can get you past that first roadblock of the ATS system. In conjunction with that, you need to utilize keywords, but you need to utilize keywords with intention and authenticity. A lot of people go in, look at a job description, and then just make sure they have the same 20 words, or they repeat what the job description says as their experience. That doesn't really do much for you. You need to make sure that they're used with intention and authenticity. And you don't want to just list or tell people what you did. This is not a to-do list with checked boxes, nor do people take a job description and say, okay, these are the 10 things I need. Oh, that resume doesn't say that. It says this, it says this. That's not how it works, right? You need to instead show people how you made an impact and share your results. That is what is going to set you apart from the pack and let them know that you're bringing something valuable to them. Utilize LinkedIn. Do not let it utilize you. What I mean by that is this. First, maximize your LinkedIn profile. If you don't know how to do that, call us. We can help you, or go Google it online. But you want a LinkedIn profile. This is a digital world. The majority of recruiters are on that as a platform. And so it is a necessary evil to what you're doing. But do not, as I said earlier, go and seek out experts in hiring. A lot of them are influencers, and therefore they are not in the trenches actually getting you hired. And your time will be better spent utilizing people that can actually help you get a job. Take advantage of free resources. So, if there are recruiting companies in your city that are offering free resume reviews, free resume classes, we've had one here who did free headshots. That's great. I can use that on my LinkedIn, right? They may offer, review or interviewing skills and things like that. Go to them. They're not all going to be great. I've gone to some clunkers, right? But I've also gone to some really great ones. And not only were the courses great, but I got to network with other people looking for work. And you'd be surprised at how beneficial that is. In addition, take advantage of free resources that help you uplevel the skills in your particular industry. So for me, for example, from a marketing perspective, something like HubSpot that has all sorts of free classes. So I brushed up and made sure that I was up to date on SEO and digital marketing and content marketing, AI. I think I read a LinkedIn, do not quote me on this exact statistic, but I saw the guy on LinkedIn on the Today Show, and he was talking about how something like 3/4 of every industry now is looking for people who know AI. So how can you start to learn and make yourself familiar with AI as a technology, and specifically with how that technology works for your industry? And then be prepared. Do your research and showcase your unique value. It can be easy to answer questions in a really formulaic way because you're trying to give somebody the answer you think that they want. And while it is good to anticipate the wants and needs of where you're interviewing for, you also have to showcase you. You have to be authentic. You have to be a genuine. I know I use those words too much, but that is the reality. They want people that are going to stump them and challenge them in positive and influential ways. They are looking for something they do not currently have. And that is where you come in, is to bring them something like that. What I'm going to end with is simply this. I am so sorry if you are one of these 6.9 people who are unemployed. And I'm also sorry if you're one of the 12.4 million people who are looking at work because they are not satisfied or happy with what they are doing. I genuinely mean that because I know what this feels like. But there is hope out there. There is the ability. Please make sure that you're surrounding yourself with positive content and resources, and take care of you physically and mentally. It is the most important part of this process. And oftentimes when we're facing these types of things, we can ignore those because we don't place a value, because we're looking to triage or immediately stop the bleeding. But these things do become important. And so take care of yourself. I am so embarrassed that I almost said take care of yourself and others. Like, why would I be quoting Jerry Springer? But the realities of that are there. If you need help, call me. Don't call me. There might be some crazies out there. Email me, info@eliminategirlhate. We do have resources on our website to help, but I will also drive you to free resources that are out there. I get it. Not everybody can afford to take advantage of paid resources at this time, and I will never force that on anybody. So if you need help, if you are struggling, contact us. If that struggle goes deeper and it is something where you need professional help, please seek it out. You are important, you are valuable, and this is just a moment in time, and you will get through it. Thank you for listening and coming back for season 2. We will continue this season with providing resources, information, fun, and conversations that can help us all live the best life that we want, and provide more spaces that are equitable and welcoming for where we work, live, learn, and play. Thank you. Until next time, visit us at eliminategirlhate.com or on social media at Wait, Hold Up What and Eliminate Girl Hate. We are sponsored by Epiphany Recording Studio. Creativity needs to flow freely if you want to reach that aha moment that we're all looking for. At Epiphany Recording Studio, their goal is to create space that takes full advantage of those moments. From podcast and video production to music creation, you get the support you need to create compelling stories with a competitive sound. Your ideas can flow freely because they partner with you free of judgment, ready to be vulnerable, do the work, and make your projects look and sound their best. So let Epiphany Recording Studio help you reach your artistic vision by visiting them today at epiphanyrecordingstudio.com. Tell them Dawn sent you. How many times have you heard the words workplace and culture used together and found yourself rolling your eyes at the thought? Believe me, I'm with you. I'll be honest, as I record this, I just rolled my eyes. That's because the word culture has become homogenized in such a way that they actually had us believing ping pong tables and pizza were symbolic of a good place to work. COVID changed that. Remote work was a success in the eyes of many, and as such, our ideas of what constitutes a good workplace culture have changed, and it boils down to one crucial element: equity. Now, don't you roll your eyes again on me. It's true. The expectation of employees is that they have a work environment and culture that works for them, regardless of who they are. No more cookie cutter swag and Pizza Hut deliveries, mandatory after hours, happy hours, and all of the other things they do to make us feel like we're a family. This is especially true for women. Remote work gave many more hours in the day, the flexibility to feel more productive and present, and a choice in how and what style of work is best for who they are and what they do. This is at the core of what equity means, because the old way was made for one group of people. And this is where Eliminate Girl Hate comes in. We help create safe and equitable spaces for girls and women, and we help the companies that employ them be more profitable in the process. Not rolling your eyes anymore, are you? Check us out at eliminategirlhate.com. Use code WAITHOLDUPWHAT in your contact form for a free consultation call and see how we can help you and your business.